friends, welcome to the first exclusive tutorial and walkthrough of 2024 for Artist Pass members and up. I hope you find this video helpful to your own sculpting journey. Let's get started! If some of you are subscribed to my YouTube channel, you may have seen an anime face tutorial that I uploaded back in 2021, and I just wanted to give you guys an updated version of that tutorial. There were techniques that I still do to this day, and there are additional steps that I do now and I didn't do before. So first, I take some clay in the color of my choice, or rather, the skin color of who I'm making, and I put it in this face mold. I made this mold way back and I've had it for years now, and it's still pretty intact. I like using molds for my work, so my figurines are similar in size and shape. And of course, different people and characters have different face shapes, so I usually just adjust what comes out of the mold. Of course, you can always buy molds off of Shopee or Amazon, and that's what I did when I first started sculpting. But then I wanted a specific shape for my figurines, so I just made my own. I still use store-bought molds though, and especially for my scale figures, since they have pretty small faces. And I found some high-quality 2-part molds on Shopee, and they work really great. They're pretty expensive than normal, but it works super well. Now we have a blank face all ready for sculpting. I usually start with the eyes so I can generally map out the whole face in my head, and I'll be using these small dotting tools. I'll start with indenting the eye sockets with a size smaller than what I'd like the eyes to be, so I can work my way out and make the pocket bigger. Next, I'll take some white clay and basically just smush it in the eye sockets. Make sure to put in just the right amount of clay, or maybe just add in small amounts at a time. You don't want to put in too much because then it'll overflow and make the eyes bigger than what you initially intended. And polymer clay sticks to itself, so you won't be able to take some out without ruining some of the details that you made earlier. Now with a smaller dotting tool, we're going to create the pockets for the irises. You should plan the general pose of the figurine before doing this so you'll know where the eyes are looking. In this case, I want his figure to face his right side, so in order for him to look at the camera, I'll have to make his eyes look to his left. The character I'm making is Zhongli, so he's gonna have golden ambrish colored irises. We're gonna take that color of clay and basically just do the same thing as the whites of his eyes. We're gonna fill the pockets up with the general color of the eyes and just add the details after. Anime eyes usually have lighter colors at the bottom part of the irises, so we're gonna do just that. I'm taking a lighter shade of the same color and adding it on top of the base color and just smush it down with my dotting tool. Make sure the darker color is still peeking at the top of the eye. Next, we're gonna work on the pupils. Of course, as usual, I'd like to have a reference of what I'm making open at all times, so I can just look interchangeably between my sculpt and the reference. From here on out, all of the details that I'm adding are based off of the character's eyes. Now that we're done with his eyeballs, I'm moving on to the outer corners of his eyes. I usually do this before the eyelids and the eyeliners because in drawing, the parts of the upper eyelids goes on top of everything else. So we'll do just that with sculpting too. I usually just put a dark brown line on the lower lash line for the character, but since Zhongli has an added orange line on the bottom lid, I'll add that first and then the lower lash line itself. After that, we'll go to the upper eyelids. This is one thing that I'm doing now and didn't do back then. I'll take a color of clay that's 1 to 2 shades darker than the character's skin color and put a tiny roll of it on top of the eyes to serve as his eyelids. It just adds more definition and depth to the eyes versus just putting a thin line for the quote eyelids like in 2D drawings. Well, for this one, I also added the 2 lines for more definition. If the character has some sort of eyeshadow, I'll use that color instead of something more close to the skin tone. Lastly, I'll add the eyeline. Usually, I would also add eyelashes, but for Zhongli, the eyeliner would suffice. Even my reference photo doesn't have them, so this is already good. Then I move on to his lips. I just roll out very thin lines, tapering one end, and then I take my X-Acto knife and cut it like so. And much like the drawings in anime, I put the thicker part of the line towards the corners of the mouth. I sometimes add the eyebrows first and then the lips, but I do them interchangeably, whatever I feel like doing first. This time it's the lips. I do this 2 times for both sides of the mouth, and then I'll make a thinner short line and add that to the bottom of the lips to act as the shadow, again for more depth and definition. Finally, I'll add his eyebrows, and I'm just taking some clay with the same color as his hair and roll it out, with one side being thinner. Then that thinner end would be placed on the outer part of his face, and again the shape and expression of the brows would be based on the character you're making, so you can position them however you want. Add some blush for the final touches and you're done with the face. I would recommend to pre-bake this so when you attach it to the body, you won't ruin the details you just made. I hope this video has been helpful to you, and of course, Thank you for being awesome and supporting me with my own clay journey. I'm more than happy to be able to provide you with the tips and tricks on how I sculpt my figurines. Have a wonderful day and see you next time!